Howdy, y'all.
Oh, shit.
It's the OTFB podcast. Oh, goodness. Hi, everybody. How are you? Glad to see you, as always, here on the OTFB podcast. Today, we're talking about the NFC, the South, okay? The South is our topic today, hence my fake Southern drawl. I'm here in Georgia, but I know. I'm a Midwest girl at heart. I don't have it, y'all. I don't. I've adopted the y'all, though, so there's that.
Oh, my God.
But we are excited to be here tonight because, we're talking football. So we've got people in the chat already. We have Kristen. Kristen gets here early, and I love that for her.
She wants to make her homie, the front row seat.
Spencer Rattler.
I must be in the front row.
If you guys are watching over Bob, it is hot, isn't it? I don't know where you are, Bob, but it is so hot. It is so hot.
Oh, 110.
Right? It's like a bajillion degrees out here, you guys. I hope you guys are drinking your water and staying cool, okay? That's all my PSAs for today. Now, if you are watching over on Twitter, over on Facebook, come join us on YouTube so that you can get in the chat and chat with us like all these amazing people. Bob, Big Red, Kristen, we love to have you. We love to interact and answer your questions and things like that. So we've got Kate. I'm going to shut up now. We've got Kate. We've got Lisa. We actually made it on the podcast without Lisa laughing. So yay. That is a win right there. Okay, seriously, I'm going to shut up. Hi, Kate. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Lisa,
I haven't seen you since last season. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing great. It's been a great sports week down here in Florida for me. Back-to-back Stanley Cup champions with the Panthers. Yeah, who would have thought, right? Florida knows hockey better than Canada. Holy crap, right?
Right.
I mean, the Lightning and the Panthers in the playoffs it's crazy. I mean, they got a franchise. They and that's what we were talking about that today, considering football to the hockey and just how front offices can just build franchises, and
so
just
true.
How it really does start at the top. I know we talk about coaches and players and stuff, but really it starts with that front office and the people they put in place to take care of their franchises and do well. And Florida's got it. Florida's got Tampa Bay's right there. Florida Panthers are right there every single season, toe to toe with these hockey guys. And, so it just goes to show you it's all the front office. Starts with the head guys.
Yeah. The quality of the team starts with the front office, but I think you also need a fan base, and like the fans love hockey down in Florida. And I was talking to somebody about it today. They're like, Florida, it's hot, it's warm. I said, and a lot of people are transplanted to Florida from cold places. So it's one of those states to me where they don't have an inherent state sport that they all love because they're all immigrants from other states.
Right.
A very good friend of ours who was born and raised in the Midwest, played hockey here, lives down there now. He's on the phone to my husband every night going, you see my Panthers? You see my Panthers? Like, they have a rabid fan base, but the front office gives them a quality product and makes it easier for the current fans, people who already like those sports, to watch it, and then for them to recruit new fans to the sport who maybe didn't pay attention before, because that front office is putting quality on the ice or on the court or on the field.
Yeah, exactly. and like I said, if they keep everything intact, they'll be poised to do a three-peat. That's how good this team is. That's the quality, like you said, that's the quality of players that they have put on the ice down here in Florida.
So something to keep our eyes on. Something to keep our eyes on next hockey.
I guess we can't speak about quality anymore if we're going to talk about the NFC and AFC South. These divisions are rough.
No, we really
These divisions are rough.
They are.
They are rough. They are rough. Y'all, like, I don't even know where to start. Where should we start?
I mean, let's start AFC.
The AFC. Yeah, the AFC South. Lisa, that's your division. We've kind of like been just picking a theme for each division. and what it is, but we all know Lisa, her theme is quarterbacks.
Always.
So let's talk about the quarterbacks of the AFC South.
Well, when you talk about the AFC South, obviously the first one that comes to mind is CJ Stroud. The Texans have the AFC, in the bag the last 2 years. This year, definitely going to be heavily favorites. Kate's got some grades there. I think they had a B. They're the head of the class. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't think anything's changed there. The Jags will be interesting with Travis Hunter now, and I think we all are in agreement. This is Trevor's last dance. I mean, this is it. This is you put up or you shut up for Sunshine. I think this is it for him. When you look at the Titans quarterback situation, obviously it's Cam Ward's team. It's him to lose. Will Levis is obviously went to the bench. So it'll be interesting to see how they do, but got a rookie start, but we had talked about that earlier. It's kind of like, say, okay, well, we got a rookie team here. They're in a little bit of a rebuild, new coach, new system, new players. So we have to kind of give them a pass, or do we? Because if Cam comes and lights it up, just like Jaden Daniels did, they could make some noise. They're a young team, nothing to lose, right? I mean, just put it all out on the field. And when you get to the Colts are going to be interesting because of the loss of Jim Irsay. It's going to be interesting to see the dynamics of that team now in his daughter's hands of exactly what they're going to do. And Anthony Richards is just still a huge question mark. I mean, he said he's ready for camp, but is he season ready? Can he stay healthy? Daniel Jones obviously comes into this, facility very experienced, healthy. So clearly he's going to have the upper edge as of right now. Reading some of the blogs and the posts and the media from out of there, he clearly is already ahead. But I think that's to be expected. I think, Richardson's been rehabbing, hasn't had a lot of reps. So I think that'll change. So it's going to be interesting. I think the biggest question mark is on the Colts in this division, to be honest with you.
I'll agree. I think will be the biggest spotlight this season. But Kristen asks a good question. Do you think Cam has what it takes? I think he does. I mean, I didn't pay as much attention to him, obviously, as you did, Lisa, at Miami. But whatever. But he threw a good, but I like some of his, he just had some good decision making. I think he felt like a leader to me, and I think that that's part of what he's going to need with the Titans. What do you think?
Well, I think when you look at it, he's going to need time to throw the ball. It's going to be a faster pace game coming at you, just like they always say, it's quicker. His decision makings, I think out of all the quarterbacks, I always said I think he was the pro ready. I think he was ready to go. I think he'll be ready to go day one. There'll be learning curves, no doubt. So I have faith in him, watching him. He has a lot to prove. I mean, he, struggled a couple his first years in college. He came on his last couple of years, had an outstanding season with the Hurricanes. So he just has to keep progressing. And I think that's what you're going to look for if you are a Titans fan right now. You just need to see that improvement every week. We talk about it every year on our show with rookie quarterbacks. You just want to see the progressiveness go. And I think when you look at like Jaden Daniels and you look at CJ Stroud's rookie seasons, they set the bar high. Yeah, so what did you expect the next season? Right. I mean, now it's like, well, look, I already know what you can do. I think those quarterbacks have more pressure on them than Cam Ward at the moment, because as right now you just want to see him progress, learn the game, progressively get better, where, Stroud and Daniels just came out of the stall running. So they've set the bar high for themselves to, keep up with that pace. So I think when you look at Cam Ward being pro ready, getting that team, building that team around him, just progressively get better. That's all you can ask from him.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Kate, what do you think about this?
I'm looking at their standings from last year. You had the Texans with 10 wins. The Colts had 8, which I had to go back and look. I'm still not sure how they got to 8. The Jags only had 4 and the Titans at 3. There's definitely room to improve for all of those teams. But when I look at the offseason moves that the Titans made, so they got Cam Ward, and then, Jacksonville moves up to get Travis Hunter, and then Shador Sanders falls. That all became the story. And I think in some ways that's good for him. It took the pressure off him. But when I look at the players that they added, the players that they drafted, they got Tyler Lockett at wide receiver to help him. He'll be there with Calvin Ridley. So he's got some quality receivers to throw to. There are no other big names like fantasy football standout guys. They got line and tackle and defense and safety, and like they shored up the other issues with that team. The Titans didn't win all of 3 games because they had bad quarterback play. They had a bad overall team. So when I'm looking through everyone they added, I think they did a very nice job. I'm not sure why most people gave them a C, other than really the only sexy name on that list after drafting Cam Ward was Tyler Lockett. But the rest of the people that they did pick up are definitely gonna, they picked up Dan Moore at offensive tackle, Kevin Zeitler on the O-line, Xavier Woods at safety. They drafted Oladipo at edge rusher, who is going to be really good, and Kevin Winston at safety. So they made moves to fix the rest of the team. And so we'll see what Cam Ward can do with Tony Pollard running the ball. And then, like I said, Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett, 2 very well-known receivers, very talented receivers. If they can connect with Cam this offseason, that's going to be huge for them. I completely agree with Lisa. So many of the quarterbacks that went in the years around Trevor Lawrence have already had to find other homes because they didn't land in the right spot. And that's what's going on with Trevor. Is Jacksonville just not the right spot for him? I think this is definitely a year for them to stay healthy and to make some moves and prove whether or not he could be on the market next year, either as a free agent or they could be looking to move him. So those are the 2 teams that, I'm questioning their ability to move up from that 3-4 win to get to 500. I think they did enough from a talent acquisition standpoint to get themselves up to 8 wins. Now it's just for every team in this division, it's about staying healthy because none of them are good enough to get through injuries.
Right. And with the Titans, what do you think about Brian Callahan? I mean, we're obviously offensive-minded guy. He's been a quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator for the Bengals. So my personal opinion with the Titans is seem like we're loading on offense, right? Does it to me? Yeah. I don't know a lot of about their defense. There's definitely any sexiness to because Babel was a defensive minded coach. So we are like going from defense to offense. With the picks, like you said, adding a Trevor Lockett account. I mean, those are some pretty quality quarterbacks to help him out, and seasoned quarterbacks too that can really show him the ropes. So, I kind of think that with Brian Callahan that he brings that aspect to the Titans that now we're going to start working on some offense.
When I think that I'm sure that he was part of the conversations about getting Cam Ward and looking at what Cam Ward was going to be the front runner. And it was just a matter of were the Titans going to move down a little bit and take someone else and get a whole lot of draft stuff, or were they just going to take him? So they had to go find a coach who was offensive-minded, who would know how to develop him, who would come up with an offensive plan that fits what he did well at the U. So I think it's good that this is their team, the 2 of them, and Cam's success is going to reflect on Callahan and his ability. They could be the next Belichick and Brady. Like, you know what I mean? Like they could, if this works out, that coach and that quarterback are going to be tied together.
It seems like
the entire time they're in Tennessee.
It definitely seems like it to me. I think that's a great analysis on that. It seems that way to me, that it's, we're moving away from the Vrabel defensive minded to more of a high octane throwing, running type of offense.
Yeah.
Sort of like with Burrow with Chase, and that's what he comes from, right?
Yep. Yep. But all that said, I still think this is Houston's division to win.
Absolutely.
I think they underperformed with 10 last year. I think CJ Stroud's got a great team and a ton to prove. And I absolutely am going to be, no surprise, picking them to win this division.
Agreed.
My question will be, as we get closer, hear more out of training camp, is
Right.
will this division be able to send a second team to the playoffs? Because I'm not seeing it, but I could be wrong. But we talked, it's hard to talk about these two divisions this week after we talked about the West last week, and they could send 3 people. Like they have teams that they have 3 teams with 11 or more wins. Like the talent is so stacked in those divisions, and then you come to these, we'll get to the NFC South. It was slightly better than the AFC South, but not by much.
The definition of bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Right.
So funny.
Yep.
So yeah, we have a couple comments here. Big Red again says that Anthony Richardson is the football version of Pete Maravich, all flair, no fundamentals.
You know what? I mean, I'm hearing it. That's what's
fair.
the scary part. I mean, but he's so young and he had injuries, so you have to kind of give him a pass. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting because, like I said, they bring Daniel Jones in for the experience, but it's without Irsay there. I just don't know what direction to go because if it's me, guys, I know what Daniel Jones is about, right? We've watched him in the Giants for the last several years. So I already know. I need to know what Richardson's got. I can't put Richardson on the bench just because of maybe you got to see what he can do.
I think it's all going to boil down to, is he healthy? Can he throw the ball in training camp? And if he can throw the ball, they're going to put Richardson in because you're right. We already know what Daniel Jones is.
Right.
He's not the future of the Colts franchise. They just needed somebody with some experience in case Richardson got hurt again or in case they couldn't get him. I mean, he's got talent. He's just between the injuries and the Colts just being an overall horrible team. He's in a rough spot. So I don't think Daniel Jones is the kind of cornerback that makes Richardson feel like he might lose his job. He's not breathing down. You know what I mean? He's not scaring him. So it's just he's a safety blanket. If things don't go well, they've got him.
Then,
but he is, I think, the biggest question mark from a quarterback standpoint in the division is he healthy? And if he is healthy, can he still play football?
Exactly. Steven asks a great question. This is Kate's favorite question. When can we adjust the divisions to make them look great? Kate has done that several times.
There's a map out there somewhere. Geographically speaking, don't get me started on these divisions.
That's a whole new show. That's a whole show.
Do a whole show on, and I'll bring my map out and I'll do graphics. I have a PowerPoint presentation. These divisions are ridiculous. The travel required for between some of these teams, and I guess it doesn't matter because now we're sending the NFC North's all heading off to Ireland and England and Brazil, like if
Germany,
we go in foreign countries,
Madrid.
I guess it doesn't matter where you're, Seattle just doesn't even need a division. They just need to, I don't know, they need to relocate to somewhere closer. I'm glad Dana's not here. They're just out there on that little island up there in the Pacific Northwest by themselves. I will bring my maps. It'll be my background instead of this weird thing I got going on. It'll be my new background is my map.
I like that. I like the map. I like the way I saw the map. I think it should be, the way it's, it should be all like
I was very thoughtful.
Close.
I went geographically, and then I kept rivalries together. So, like the AFC North, I think should be Cleveland, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. Get Baltimore out of the AFC North and give me Buffalo. Baltimore should be with the Jets. I don't even know how the Jets and Buffalo got Miami in the first place. Like that whole AFC East should be.
It's weird.
I'll get my map out and show it to you. Although one of the divisions in the West has a very odd shape to it, but
we'll get my map out.
We'll come back to that.
It might not get past the censors. We'll get back to that.
Big Red has Texans, Jags, Titans, Colts. I can see that.
We got to save that for the Pick'em show, Big Red. We got the Pick'em show. We got to save that for the Pick'em show.
Oh, sorry. Pick'em show. But, here's a good question. Did Sunshine last in Jacksonville because of the money tied up in him or lack of other options? I think money, but I also think that they want to give him another chance. But I think everybody realizes that this is his last year. Like he has to get his, together in my thoughts. No. But yeah, I think that's why. I think they really want to give him a fair chance. They've changed coaches. They've done all of the things. So yeah, let's give him one more chance and then we'll see. That's my 2 cents. Anyway.
I mean, it's a cliche for a reason. The best ability is availability, and he can't stay healthy and on the field. And when he is, again, that this is like a theme with at least 3 of the teams in this division. You can't just have great quarterback play. You need a whole team.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacksonville's problems were far beyond just quarterback play.
Yeah,
So-
definitely. I think it all plays out. And I mean, and you can't knock the kid between all the ups and downs. How many coaches, offensive coordinators has he's gone through?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be fair with him and say that my thing with him is just like kind of what Kate said. He is injured, but these aren't the type of injuries that he's out for like weeks and weeks. These are nagging ankle injuries, high sprains. And it seems like every single week we heard, oh, he's dealing with a sore shoulder. He's got an ankle sprain. How frustrating. It's like, okay, so you're telling us he's not 100%. So now we're just pretty much going to play with a quarterback that's 70%.
Well, and it's back to, was that Big Red? His comment is they didn't have other options. They couldn't even put somebody in for a week.
So they played him hurt.
Get a little healthier. They got Nick Mullins on the bench. Like, I think John Wolford's still there. Like, these people are, John Wolford and Seth Hennigan. I don't know who these people are. They don't have a viable option if he just needs a week to get healthy. And so then he just keeps re-aggravating that injury. So,
yes. Now let's move on to the bless your heart division, the NFC South.
I know what that
Tell
means.
us about that one. What is your overarching theme?
We have grades on that one.
We do, and they're very similar to the ones in the AFC. A whole lot of meh.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at I was looking at the standings for last year, and I thought I was looking at the AFC South. The Buccaneers had 10, the Falcons had 8. The difference is the Panthers and the Saints both had a whopping 5. So the worst teams in the NFC South had 1 or 2 more wins than, like, they're so similar in the way they're laid out, and they're so similar in what they did in the offseason. They all tried to fix things. I think the quarterbacks in this division, we're going to see Michael Penix Jr. in Atlanta, still Bryce Young in Carolina, Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay, and Tyler Shuff. Is that who who are we going to see in New Orleans? Derek Carr? Like, I don't even know.
No, Derek Carr's done. He retired. He's out.
He's out.
Derek Carr's done.
Yeah. So I don't even know that they have a quarterback. I don't know.
Gosh.
I don't even know how to pronounce Shoughugh.
Show.
Show.
I
Tyler.
don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
He was drafted in the second round out of Louisville. Well, he's 6'5". He's taller than half the quarterbacks in my quarterback room. 6'5", 219 from Louisville.
There you go.
I think we've seen some other quarterbacks from Louisville do okay.
Michael Penix.
I mean, he wasn't bad. He was better than I'm going to be honest with you. I think he was better than I expected him to be honest with you. I did. He came out. I was kind of impressed with him. Same scenario for me. You got to see what he can keep going. You got to see the improvement. I saw it every single game. He got better. I saw that. So as an Atlanta Falcons fan, I am not, I'm worried about my whole team because he's definitely just not the whole team. No. But I mean, I definitely, as a fan of quarterbacks, I'm not, oh my God, we're in trouble. I'm definitely not the Saints fans. Like, oh my, what? Where I know at least Penix showed improvement every single game. And he was not bad at the end there. I mean, to me, I know some people knocked him, but I wouldn't. I'm kind of comfortable if I'm a Falcons fan quarterback wise right now.
Agreed.
I don't know about the rest of the team.
I think he showed promise, and I think that they overall were better than I expected them to be last year. The Falcons were, and I think they had some decent addition. Hang on, I'm looking at their draft right now. Hold on. I gotta go back up. But I think they had a decent draft too.
I mean, they finished the year on a 2-game losing streak. They could have, if they had won those last 2 games, would have had the same 10 wins that Tampa Bay had. But I'm looking at even their roster. They've got, Kirk Cousins sitting in the back there. Bijan Robinson. Listen, as someone who has owned him in fantasy football for 2 years, I don't know if he's sleeping with the coach's daughter or what. He is not getting consistent carries. He's not getting touchdown runs. I don't know what's up with him. You've got Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Ray McLeod the third at wide receiver. Kyle Pitts at tight end is probably the most notable name in that group, but he didn't do as much last year as he does in prior years.
And
So
I thought he was on the trading block.
Matt.
Am I wrong?
What?
I thought Pitts was up for on the trading block. I'm hearing his name like in trade rumors.
They're looking to get something for him. I'm just not sure what they need. In my mind, they need a little more help at wide receiver. Drake London is not enough. They need somebody for Penix to really connect with and throw to. So,
as you like to say, his whoopee.
He needs a whoopee. He absolutely needs a whoopee. Now, I don't know. It's just
that wide receiver room is terrible.
Yeah,
that wide receiver room is terrible.
Yeah, I feel for him, but he should be better than New Orleans with Tyler Shownuff, whatever. However, I didn't even heard of
Tyler Shownuff.
Not gonna lie, not even gonna play. We did a college football show last year. Never once talked about Louisville. Haven't cared about Louisville since Lamar Jackson left, unless we're talking basketball because they're a basketball school. We'll see. We'll see. It's rough.
Agreed.
I'm trying to find their off-season grades that I was just looking at, and I lost them.
What was up? What PFF had? What's theirs?
They gave the Falcons a B+.
Okay.
Really?
They added Leonard Floyd at edge. I mean, all their key additions were linebacker, edge, defensive line, safety. James Pierce is an edge rusher. Jalen Walker on edge. Xavier Watson, Jordan Fuller at safety. Because they lost Lorenzo Carter. They lost their center, Drew Dahlman, and frankly, he needed to go. They lost Rondale Moore. So, they went after that quarterback and then have slowly tried to balance out their roster. So if it all clicks this year, we'll see. They grabbed.
It feels like the Falcons are playing Moneyball to me. The movie of the Bay, because I mean I'm looking at this roster and I'm trying to pick half these guys out, and I'm looking at that wide receiver room. I'm looking at one person we know, and that's Pitts, and who to me they was rumored to move on. Line wise, Jake Matthews is pretty solid. I mean, I'm looking at their line roster. But I mean, I'm not seeing anything sexy here. I'm not seeing anything that wows me. Like, oh my God, this offense is going to be stellar.
Yes.
You never know, though. You
never know. That's supposed to be. That's why football, they say there's so much parity. You can go to work from worst to first. I think after we do all of our shows where we talk about the divisions and before we get to the pick'em, one of the topics I want us each to pick a division where we think the worst team in that division did enough to move up to first. And I don't know if it's either two of the divisions we're talking about today. I don't know that they did enough.
Don't give anything away. Don't give anything away.
I don't.
There's other divisions. I got 3 or 4 teams that I think could do it, but neither of them are coming from these divisions.
I kind of like, though, and Big Red mentioned it a little bit. I kind of like what Carolina did in their draft. But the only knock is that they didn't shore up their offensive line. That is my biggest knock with what
my only knock with them is I don't think you could tank any worse than they did. There was no other room for them to improve some. Did you see that much of an improvement where you're like, oh, okay, they're going to climb out of the basement? I don't know.
I mean, they might still be in the basement, but I think that they'll at least be better.
So the Panthers
they'll be better than the Saints.
The Panthers got an A from a number of people with what they did in the offseason with waiting until the later rounds to go after edge rushers. They got Princely Human Milan. I know I'm saying his name wrong. They got Nick Scourton. They got Patrick Jones. They got a safety, a couple defensive tackles. They really waited, used their first round pick to get McMillan, so Bryce would have somebody to throw to, and then really went deeper with it, which I think is what they kind of needed to do. And they're sort of being projected as a sleeper to take this division away from Tampa Bay. Now, I'm looking at Tampa Bay's roster and what they did, and
I don't know about all that.
Tampa Bay, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They just had some bad luck here and there. But they've got one of my favorite receivers from the Ohio State University, Emeka Egbuka. And I can't say his name. He'll catch balls for Baker Mayfield all day. So that may be the strongest offense in this division. When I'm looking at their depth chart and the names and who they've got at all these positions, they may have the best offense in the division. It's just going to be now, is their defense good enough? And, you know, they've still got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and now they've added Egbuka, and then you've got Bucky Irving running the ball with Rashad White right behind him, like tight end, Cade Otton. Like Baker's got all the weapons he needs. And,
he does.
And he seems last year to have reined himself in a little bit. He wasn't so much of a gunslinger. He didn't have, didn't have more interceptions and touchdowns. That's always a good thing. Just looking at the roster right now, and I know we haven't gotten to.
I'm looking at it too. I mean, as far as I like their wide receiver room.
Yeah,
they've got some quality guys in that wide receiver room.
Told you.
I think they do. So. You know, that's kind of where I'm leaning. I think this is, I don't know. I think this division is more up for grabs than the one we talked about earlier. I don't have any faith at all in the Saints. So it's really up to the Panthers and Falcons. I think they both have rosters that could catch the Buccaneers. And I also think we've seen enough of the Buccaneers to know that they're capable of coming back to the group. You know what I mean? They have a down year. They won the division with 10 games. It's not like they were a 14-win team. They dropped from 10 to 9, and that may be the only opening Atlanta needs or Carolina needs. So this could be a hotly contested division, but not in that 12 to 13 win category. It could be whoever's over 100 gets it. Whoever's over 50%. Like, you just got to get to 9, and it's your division.
And it's yours. Yep.
And it should be competitive because I think they're all going to be close because they're all going to be just neck and neck, I think, the whole way through.
Agreed.
Yep. I think so.
Got to say hi to our friend Camden. She's not doing the
Camden.
NFL this year, but she's going to show some love. Oh, her Oregon State Beavers. We love you, Camden. Aw. But I agree. I think that the NFC South will be a little bit more contested than the AFC South. Now, could be wrong. We could be wrong. But I have a strange feeling that the NFC South is going to be a little bit more.
Yeah, I think there are way too many unknowns in the AFC South, especially when we're talking about Tennessee and we're talking about the Colts. Yeah. You know, when an owner like Jim Irsay passes away and that leadership moves,
that's huge.
Do not underestimate the effect that could have, good or bad, across every aspect of that football team, in the front office and everything else. The way they used to do things is that everything's going to change, and it's going to be there's an impact to that. So
of course, and he
was super involved. Sometimes you get these old guys that pass away, and they really weren't involved in the day to day. Their kids had already taken over. Jim Irsay had his fingers in every little bit of what was going on with that team. So they're going to have to adjust, and we'll see. We'll see how it affects them.
There's not many of them left,
Right.
I mean, all these ownerships are going to corporate type shares.
Yep. And they're not sitting in there. They're not as involved as they used to be. They're just the figurehead who goes and does the things, and they hire people to do the stuff.
Exactly.
We're getting away from, the Rooneys and the Fords and the families that have owned these teams forever. And it's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be interesting to watch as fans of the game to see how this affects the game in Indy.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. For sure. Well, everybody, thank you again for joining us. I think we're going to wrap it up. And next week, I think we're doing the Easts, NFC East and AFC East, I do believe. So, that'll be fun. Couple of real interesting divisions right there, Lisa.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
We got a question from Big Red, Sonia.
Talked about.
Oh, what? Oh, what are the Saints' intentions with Spencer Rattler?
Quarterback. It's going to be a battle. They already said it's opened up. It's going to be a quarterback. Obviously, like I said, you took this kid in the first round, Tyler. So I think you're going to give him a little bit more love. But I think it'll be a wide open competition, as it should be.
Yeah.
But
Justin.
All right. I thought he was going to say Rattler Lives Matter. I think Tyler's listed first on the depth chart because of where he was taken in the draft.
well,
But
like I said,
I agree with you, Lisa.
Take a
It's
quarterback in the first
if
quarter.
Spencer
first
can
round.
grab that job, he can have that job. That job's up for grabs.
Agree.
I think so too.
Yep.
Agree.
All right. Next
friends,
week we're heading east.
Also, look for an announcement maybe this weekend about fantasy football. If we're interested, Kristen, I will reach out to you separately so that we can get you involved. I know you've talked about that, but yes, keep an eye out. I'll be putting out interest so we can get that going too. But y'all stay cool out there.
Stay hydrated.
Water.
Stay hydrated.
Stay in the shade, wear your sunscreen, and
all that good stuff.
And riot if Rattler's benched.
I will lead the charge. We'll meet you there, Big Red.
All right, you guys. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Good Lord.
Bye.
Oh my God.